310864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Kudos to the fans.
We knew we could always count on those guys to show up and make it an unbelievable atmosphere.
Our fans are so passionate about our team.
He caught it. He caught that ball. That's a touchdown.
Three in the buzzer. Whether it be at the Jane or at PK Park or Autzen or MKA or wherever, boy, did they come strong.
You're a fan of the Ducks. I mean, you need to get involved with that deal.
Top of the arc, 3, 10! Hits one a ton toward the flag. God!
You can just see it in the way they cheer and the way that they get into the game.
Probably tells you how special Oregon is.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Fall camp continues. Ducks were on the practice field yesterday. They continue on the practice field today before an off day tomorrow in anticipation of the second scrimmage of fall camp coming your way on Saturday. We'll have a full breakdown for you on the Quack Minute, the GoDucks.com practice report, and also, of course, right here on the show on Duck Insider. The Ducks have a number of preseason accolades coming their way, the number 2 team in the country for good reason. They got good players. Talk about that throughout the course of today's show. Dusty Harrah is going to join us. We'll also chat with Tracy Joyner of the Oregon soccer team, the head coach of a 2-0 club to start the season. They're on the road now into the Bay Area. Tomorrow at 7:30, Oregon soccer season continues on the road against Santa Clara. A good test against a team that's picked to win their conference this season. And Dan Lanning, the Oregon football head coach, met with the media just yesterday. And every time we chat with Coach Lanning, this was post-practice last night, it's brought to you by the William Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach, talking fall camp.
You talked on Saturday about defense attacking the ball really well. Coach Koa told us yesterday it was one of the better scrimmages he saw from a quarterback perspective as far as decision making. I'm just curious, after you watched the game tape and kind of broke it down, what you thought.
Yeah, I thought there were some good decisions made. There was also some decisions that could have been better. Ultimately, we had some takeaways within the game. Some of that was more player error. It wasn't necessarily quarterback error, but it was more player error than anything. But I think 2 things can be true, right? The quarterbacks did make good decisions. We got to speed up the process at times with the QB, and the defense has been attacking the ball well.
Dan, how has the GA role evolved from your time when you served as one, and when you are one, like in your system? Is it a drink from the fire hose situation, or do you take time and do they get coaching with you per se?
Yeah, there's a lot more people in the organization than whenever I was doing it. At one point there was 1 GA on offense, 1 GA on defense, and that was also, we didn't really have quality control coaches back then. We didn't have analysts. I think at one point in my career, we actually had an analyst on defense and an analyst on offense, and then your full-time coaches. That's changed a lot. So there's a lot more people on each side of the ball, which is great. That means more people able to impact our players, more people to make the organization run smoothly. Always the role is how many hats can I wear, right? And get an opportunity to grow as a coach, and also grow, within the system and make our team better. So we're looking for selfless guys. There aren't really GAs anymore, right? Because before that was you go to school. When they passed the rule that, anybody is able to coach really on the field, that's a full-time employee, that's kind of changed things to where you let more guys, have an impact in the coaching role. So that's a little bit different, but you hope everybody is learning every day to improve and grow. And, we do staff meetings all together where those guys get to learn. And then there's moments where, somebody's got to be the guy printing the script off. Somebody's going to be typing in the play call, breaking down the film. But coaches have to wear those hats too, and be a part of that as well. So it's certainly changed a lot over the years.
A couple weeks into camp, just looking at what Dante is doing and his leadership and everything, how do you feel like this camp is maybe different than last year for him, and what he's showing, if he's using his voice more, that type of thing?
Yeah, more than anything, just knowledge of the game, and he has the answers so quick. He's able to realize that this is not going to be a good play into this look. Let's change the play. Okay, I'm hot here. Let me get rid of it. And then the ability to coach the other players around him because he knows what every single one of them is doing as well. So his knowledge, again, it's like having a coach on the field, which is huge. His leadership showing up, and there's several guys that are kind of falling into that role.
I understand it's outside noise, grand scheme of things doesn't mean anything, but yesterday Oregon was ranked number 2 in the preseason AP poll, highest ever in program history. Do you ever take a second to just kind of appreciate what that says about your program?
Hell no.
Several players have mentioned Jeremiah McClellan as somebody who's really standing out this fall. What would you say is maybe unique about him compared to other receivers?
Yeah, I mean, he has gotten so much stronger and stronger at the point of attack, each year. I think that his first year, that was a huge area for him to grow. And then second year, it became a real weapon, and that's become even more of a weapon this year. He's playing with violence, right, which I think is important. His speed in and out of breaks is really a separator. So, and he just got done speaking to the team, right? So his leadership skills have stepped up as well.
A two-part question. How would you gauge the competition at quarterback behind Dante? And then Koe yesterday was talking about how it's a collaborative effort from coaches to kind of figure out who that number 2 ends up being. Can you just explain your thought process of how that will happen, how that will play out from a staff perspective?
Yeah, it will continue to compete all the way through, right? And there's some places where it's really apparent to say, okay, Dante's played a lot of snaps. It's really clear what he looks like. But I would argue there's very few guys that should be comfortable in their roles on our team because you got to pay rent every single day in football, and everything adds up. Every piece matters, right? It's walkthrough, right? It's in the meeting room. It's out there on the field, and you assess it all and evaluate it all, and as a staff, make the best decision moving forward. But we've got great competition in that room. We've got great competition in a lot of rooms. Again, for me, the goal in fall camp is to find how many guys are above the line who are playing really winning football.
Speaking to the all the preseason talk, the expectations, like how do you, as a coach, what have you learned over the years about how to insulate guys from that to try to keep the focus internal when obviously there's a lot of talk?
Yeah, I think it's really easy. I mean, have you ever seen a preseason poll that was right at the end of the year? I mean, it just doesn't happen very often, right? And ultimately, it's never right about all the top 25. The people that make those polls have nothing to do with the results on the field. So let's focus on the things that we control.
Coach Tuioti told us yesterday that Tank was up to 300 pounds after coming into Oregon, I think around 245. Was that expected? Is that something you guys had planned for him to put on that much weight and kind of change his body that much, or did it just kind of happen that way?
Yeah, I think it twofold. Like, he's a guy that we felt like, okay, he can continue to put on weight. When he got here, you want the guys to naturally be at what they can carry and what they, so don't put limitations on somebody for where they'll be. And it was really clear early to us that this guy's going to be a guy it's going to be bigger. And let's not limit that because we need big guys that have explosive power and quickness like him. And he's a guy that can be outside, inside, and that variety is really good for us. Now, he's really embraced the role of being inside. And he's a guy that I think can make an impact and be a guy that can play snaps for us this year if he continues to grow the way he's been growing so far.
Kind of following up on that, Coach Tuioti was also talking about how a lot of these guys are position versatile in terms of the ability to play both inside and outside. Guys who are 300 plus pounds. It's kind of unique in this era that people can play with that kind of athleticism. What does that say about some of these younger players that they're able to carry that weight so well to be position versatile?
Yeah, you need to be big, and I think that's probably one of the biggest differences for us over the last few years is what we've been able to do on the defensive line and what it looks like. You can't ever play with just 4 players. That position's continued to change for us throughout the years. There was a time where we kind of had a jack on a field and a big end, and now you're like, okay, both these guys can play jack, both of them can play big end. Okay, we've had a 3 that can play 5. The more versatility you have, the better, right? And you want to be able to see guys display their talents and utilize their talents. And if we can plug people in, it always ensures that you have your best 11 on the field.
Coach, we talked a lot about where you've seen the players improve. I'm just curious from your perspective, where do you feel that you've improved the most compared to last year and even before the scrimmage to now?
Yeah, great question. Ultimately, I think there's a lot of self-study for me of, okay, what are the things that I want to attack? And I'm not necessarily going to share every single piece of that with you guys. But there's situations we've been in the past where it's like, okay, how can I handle that situation better? I think a lot of coaches might grab a practice script from last season and roll it out and say, hey, that's the same one that we're going to use. I think we've always done a really good job of saying, okay, what's the needs of our team? Based off this last scrimmage, how do we need to adapt practice? What are we struggling with? We struggle with tempo the other day in some of our scrimmage settings, so let's recreate that more in practice. But I think our ability to adapt, create drills that fit the skills that we have to work on has been, a strength for us in our program. And I think, again, leaning into our coaches. I've had a lot more of our coaches and our players get up in front of our team this year beyond just me and being able to make sure that, a lot of times it's a common message, but it's coming from a different voice, which has been really refreshing to see throughout fall camp.
Dante's talked a lot about, his increasing love of golf and spending more time on the course, especially in the off season. Did you play with him in the off season? And then secondarily, what do you think about the value of having this specific interest that can take your mind off the game?
Yeah, we were on the course a couple times together. I don't think I ever played directly against Dante, but neither one of us are going to be playing football for a long time. So, I mean, I'm glad he's into it, but maybe we can pick it back up in February.
Yesterday, Tony was talking about Elijah Rushing's just trusting the process of being a 5-star in a day and age when if you don't play, you can quickly find somewhere else real quick. And he's bought in and he's playing multiple positions, maybe moving into the line. Can you just speak to just his development and his trust of this program's process?
Yeah, I think, Elijah's done a great job of focusing on him. He's always been really self-aware of like, okay, this is something I got to get better at. And you're seeing that guy show up this year for us in fall camp. He's going to be able to play snaps for us this year. And it's because he's become a more violent finisher. He's able to separate on blocks. He's creating knockback. The knowledge of the system. He's one of the guys on the team that meets with me, individually every week on a recovery day and creates a cut up and asks questions. But he's really challenged himself to improve. He's gotten stronger. He's gotten more flexible. And I think all those things have paid dividends for him, and it's showing up in fall camp.
Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach, breaking down fall camp as we head towards scrimmage number 2 on Saturday. Today, Oregon wide receiver Iverson Hooks and tight end Jamari Johnson announced on the preseason watch list for the Bolitnikoff Award, recognizing the most outstanding pass catcher regardless of position. Hence, you get a receiver in Hooks, a tight end in Jamari Johnson. I feel like there's a few other names on the Oregon roster that probably could have been on the Bolitnikoff watch list. Similarly today, Dante Moore on the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award preseason watch list. I'm shocked that Dante Moore is on more preseason watch lists. When we come back, Dusty Harrah. He did not get a haircut. I'm thrilled by that. Dusty Harrah joins us next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
With a new Toyota from Toyota's National Sales Event, you can turn your end-of-summer scaries into end-of-summer woes. Pack a picnic into a 4Runner and hit up a stunning mountain vista.
Whoa!
Haul a bouncy castle in a Tundra.
Whoa! I'm king of the castle!
Or take a BZ to an amusement park with friends. Keep your woes going this summer in a new Toyota.
Event ends August 31st. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Dusty Harrah is with us as we welcome you back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm in the Country Financial Studio. He's all the way. We got to name the TV. I got to find some way to call it. Like, is it the Harrah Cat? It's the Haircast.
No. So you're going to bring on
for instance, I don't know, Nebraska's play-by-play guy and be like, "Welcome to the Haircast,"
Yeah.
because I know
This is now the Haircast. This is why we have the monitor to do these remote interviews.
Okay.
Now, there's going to be some broadcasters who shall remain nameless, though, that the Haircast might be a little insulting because there's none left up there. I'll get there someday. I know I will.
That's just mean.
I'm just glad that the hair has continued. Welcome back, Dusty Harrah. He'll be roaming the Toyota sidelines. I want everyone to know, really, I thought grew as a person and a broadcaster significantly on Friday. Do you know why, Dusty?
What did I do on Friday?
No, on Saturday. I'm sorry. On Saturday. You grew significantly on Saturday. Well, maybe this happened Friday, too. I don't know.
Okay.
Normally, Dusty is, as the sideline reporter, he lives on the sideline at practice. Now, even though I spent a decade on the sideline, Jerry and I are still we like row 20 of Autzen Stadium to watch scrimmages, and we actually all watched in the booth. And Dusty didn't go down to the field during the entire scrimmage, and I just thought that was a big growth moment for you beyond the sidelines as a broadcaster, my guy.
I will tell you what, it actually ate at me. Because I love being down on the sidelines because you can hear so much more, you take so much more in, but I love the aerial view because you can see everything. You can see how all the things develop.
That's why I like it.
And and that was great. I just hadn't seen you guys in a while, so I just wanted to hang out for a while.
What a guy.
I mean, if I'm being honest.
What a guy.
There was a part of me, I was driving home going, man, how was I not down there a little bit more?
You're still, though, I will say, we've been to a couple stadiums where I think you know where I'm going with this, Dusty, where the windows are closed in the broadcast booth.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. I can't stand it. I feel so removed from the environment. I've done a couple baseball games that way, and it's eerie. It feels weird.
Yeah, you got to be able to feel the energy of the stadium, and that's one of the coolest things about being down on the sidelines and being at a game. And that's there's so many great things that you can get out of a television broadcast now where there's a lot of people say I don't need to go to the game anymore. You can't feel that energy and replicate that energy.
No.
And Autzen Stadium is different. I know you've had this conversation with a bunch of counterparts, whether it's visiting radio or national TV that comes in. The sideline reporters, they all say the same thing, holy smokes, how does this place get this loud?
Yeah.
How do they do this for 4 hours? Because it starts in pregame and it doesn't stop until the very end of it.
No.
And you get that, and you can't replicate that on TV. You can crank up the volume as much as you can. It is different. I love that energy that you can feel down there.
Well, we talk about it a lot, obviously, around these parts, and I think everyone, Duck fans, it's sort of oh, yeah, we know. And now all these newer fan bases that are coming to Autzen Stadium, many of which have not experienced it. I mean, it's going to be still a few more seasons before all of our brethren around the Big Ten experience Autzen Stadium. And I'm looking forward to having that conversation with everybody here in a decade, Dusty, right? When they've been to Autzen once or twice at least.
Yeah, and there's a lot of teams that it's going to take them a while to get here just because of the way that the rotation goes. And as you're going down the list of all the Big Ten schools, you're like, oh, we're checking those boxes really quickly on every single team, but to get to their place and for them to get to our place, it's gonna take a while to get that whole cycle through. But I'm excited for all of it because I think the fun part about what the Big Ten has meant to Oregon has been all of those fan bases really getting over here and being God, they weren't lying. This place is really cool. It is different. It's loud. The fans are great. Everybody has a great time here. And just seeing the droves of visiting fans come in is really neat to see. And I think the next wave is going to be just as impressive as the initial one because all these people that have been coming to Eugene, they're going home and they're telling everybody, hey, the next time you've got to go too. And that's going to be awesome.
That's true. And there are some teams, I think of a Michigan, that it's been a while as a non-conference opponent now coming in as a conference opponent. It's amazing how how there's only so many football games in a season and they go quick when you talk about the opportunities to play in some of these places. I'm curious, I don't know the answer to this. Dusty, how many of the Pac-12 football stadiums have you been to? Did you check all of them off your list at some point?
I have.
You've been to all of them.
I have. I've been to every single one.
Yeah, it took me, I want to say it took me actually 6 football seasons to get to every Pac-12 venue because there was a conflict with like a Colorado trip, an Arizona trip at one point, and so it took me a little while. And it's amazing though, just even how long it took for someone like me to get to all those venues.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado is the one I did not go to Colorado. That was the only one. 11 of 12. Colorado in that one is one I want to go to, man. That Folsom Field is, a great scenery around it. The fans are awesome there. I heard great things from my friends that went to those games, and I think like most of them, I was just a fan going to games, or a fan and going, just being in the area, being like, you know what, I guess I'm gonna go to this game, and going to a random game at Washington State.
That's right. Scrimmage 1 for the Ducks of this season behind us now. Scrimmage 2 coming up on Saturday. What's been your read on fall camp so far?
Man, this team is talented. And I think one thing that you sit there and you look at is you hear it time and time again, but you look at the way that stacking recruiting classes and what that means to a program as you move forward. And so much has been made of, the transfer portal and guys coming and going. You look up and down this roster and you say, well, there's a lot of guys that have stuck around here.
It's true.
And I heard you talking about, the audio clips in the last segment where, Coach Tuioti had, and this question was asked to Coach Lanning, of Coach Tuioti had mentioned that like a guy like Elijah Rushing sticking around, right? Like guys like that, where you get these highly touted recruits and maybe they don't see the field right away. We hear so much about how the transfer portal has ruined that aspect of that growth and development. There's a lot of guys on this roster that they understand the goal and they see the vision and they're seeing it through and watching the development. That's one of the coolest things to see, is watching how a lot of these players have grown, and where they started, where they were last fall, where they were in the spring, into where they are now midway through fall camp. I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of growth physically, like literal growth, and the development of their skill sets and the comfortable nature with which they're playing in the schemes. That is one thing that has really popped out, and that is, that's that buy-in, right? That's the buy-in that every coach in every sport has ever preached, but that you see that and you're getting it with some of the guys that may not be in the starting 11, but they're going to play significant snaps. And that is what really popped out, is just how many different guys you can just roll out onto the field in that first scrimmage. It was pretty glaring.
Well, and sticking with the defensive line point, a couple things. One, you talk about like the body transformation, the guys that have physically grown. I mean, Matthew Johnson comes to mind, right? Putting on a lot of weight. Nasir Wyatt looks like a different guy. And then even to extend out to the edge, Mateo Uiagalelei, a little leaner. And he talked about, and we're going to play that for you coming up here, if not today, tomorrow, that that's part of his game to maintain that explosiveness, his get off. And, the body transformation that can occur and the growth that can occur, really pivotal because, again, a defensive line example, Dusty, it's not going to just be one or two guys on that defensive line. Dan Lanning made it pretty clear that over the last few years, that position has changed, and they want to be able to rotate multiple guys in that spot.
Yeah, and that's so important, is not just having those numbers and being able to have those, as Coach Lanning calls them, above the line guys that can step in and play a role, but the understanding of every single one of those guys that I will get my chance. And it doesn't matter when I get it. When I get out on that field is when I need to make that impact. And that is so hard to convey to any person, young or old, but especially young people now, and young people that have been as talented, supremely talented as they have their entire football careers, to sit there and be like, hey, you're going to get your shot. When you get that shot, make the most of it. And then those guys saying, hey, when I come out of the game, it's to get me back in so I can be at 100%. Getting that buy-in, that's a really tough thing to understand, right? Because everybody wants to play every snap.
Right.
That's what you want to do. But there is an understanding, and you can hear it in whether it was, in media day and hearing guys say, that's something that they love, is the fact that, another guy can come in, give them a breath, and there's no fall off. But when I get back, I'm back at 100%, right? And it's interchangeable throughout, and it's through different position groups. That D-line is really bought into it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, sorry, I almost cut you off, Dusty. Like that's a huge part of that stacking the recruiting classes that you alluded to earlier, right? You have that depth. Dusty Harrah, we continue. Okay, you heard me mention the Biletnikoff watch list. And the Doak Walker watch list came out earlier this week, Dusty. So here's a good problem to have and a good, I think, problem question that I'm going to ask you. Were you more surprised that De'Aaron Hill was not on the Doak Walker preseason watch list, or that basically anybody in the wide receiver room wasn't on the Biletnikoff Award watch list today? It was Iverson Hooks and Jamari Johnson that were on it today. Which one surprised you more? Which one raised your eyebrows higher?
Yes. I mean, it was.
Isn't that the thing?
They were both surprising. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I do think that De'Aaron Hill, that one surprised me a little bit more.
Only one team had multiple guys on the Doak Walker list, and normally the Doak Walker preseason watch list has teams with multiple guys. So.
And look, Jordan Davison, deserving. De'Aaron Hill, deserving. Just look at the yards per carry that young man had a year ago.
Right.
And what he meant as a true freshman. He was truly exceptional last year. That one did surprise me. Now, the receiver room, it's a take your pick, and I think what they do is they say, I guess these are who we think are going to be their best receivers. But, I mean, you really can. There's going to be a lot of guys that are knowns, like DeCorian Moore and Jeremiah McMillan. There's going to be a lot of guys that, maybe they haven't heard of before. And, look, there may be some Duck fans that are out there that are going, Iverson Hooks? Yeah, you're going to find out. You're going to find out. I mean, he was electric at UAB last year at his previous stop. He was great throughout the spring, and he is going to pop off the screen when you see him play. But there is no shortage of guys that could be on this list at wide receiver, tight end, running back for the Doak Walker as well. It's a good problem to have, though.
Good problem to have. The fact that I get to ask that question is a good thing. Dusty Harrah will be down roaming the Toyota sidelines for all games this season. Kickoff against Boise State coming up. I actually just talked to Bob Beeler of the Boise State Radio Network yesterday. Dusty, he'll be joining us, get the preview from the Boise State side of things coming up as we head toward kickoff. Second scrimmage coming up on Saturday. Dusty will be there. Dusty, thanks. Drive safe.
I cannot tell you how excited I am. September 5th. Look, it is August 19th today. We are getting closer and closer to kickoff, and I am pumped.
His office is more and more decorated every time we talk to him.
That's right.
It's a good thing. Right. Dusty Harrah, thank you, sir. When we come back, Tracy Joyner, Oregon soccer. They're 2-0 to start the season. Tough road test ahead. We'll talk with Coach Joyner next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Winning doesn't happen by accident. It takes a playbook, one that works when the pressure's on. For 35 years, Morgan & Morgan has been that playbook for the injured, recovering more than $35 billion for our clients. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics, because in football and in the courtroom, the right playbook gets results. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you. 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this wayward son? I left my heart in Oregon.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Tracy Joyner is in the Country Financial Studio with 2 wins to start the season. Look, that's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Yes.
Duck Dubs, plural. 2 to start the season. How was opening weekend for you, Coach?
I mean, 2 dubs, 6 goals, and 2 shutouts. Just like we drew it up, you know?
Right.
So
That's right.
Yeah, no, it was an awesome weekend and just a lot of great individual performances. But what's really awesome is like just the team performance together and just everybody recognizing like how to impact when they were on the field or off the field. Like our bench was awesome. Everybody that came in did a fantastic job, great energy. The crowd was amazing.
Yeah.
It was just everything kind of came together. And that's how you want it.
How about, you touched on this a bit, how about the depth of your team? I mean, sure, you get a lead and then you're able to utilize maybe a little more of that depth, but nice to have, isn't it?
It is, and you know, it definitely helps for the longevity of a season of being able to rest players and get everybody minutes, keeps morale high, everyone's included, and it rewards everybody. You know, it's like when Assistant Kat said, you know, when everybody cooks, everyone gets to eat.
That's right.
And that's what happened. You know, that kind of big minute players cooked, and we all got to eat, and that was awesome.
I know you said this a little tongue in cheek, like just how we drew it up. But Coach, like, this is just how you drew it up, right?
For sure, yeah.
Right?
No,
the recipe was successful.
It was good. Again, like we're this early in the season, and we're feeling really confident, just in our ability to extract detail from the game, and put it into a training session, and then execute it at the next game. So. Our scouts were on point in terms of, you know, how are we going to make sure that, you know, we're taking advantage of some different matchups and systems, and stylistically, but also making sure that we're not exploited in some of the areas that we still, you know, need to focus on. So did a great job executing the scout and making some, you know, obviously most of our goals came in the second half of both games. So just identifying some of those, you know, moments that we needed to change, some adjustments there, and, you know, being able to impact in the second half.
You touched on something I wanted to ask you is that couldn't have been a coincidence, right? That you kind of had a couple periods of runs where you're able to finish. I imagine there were some adjustments that were made over the course of a match, or at least some things that come to fruition later on in a match.
Definitely, and that's, you know, the halftime, you know, we've done really well both in the past 2 games with just I think we scored a goal in the first 5 to 10 minutes of both halves, and that just changes the game pretty profoundly, puts you in a different situation. But we talked a lot about like what could happen, and obviously in the Gonzaga game, you know, being up a player, we wanted to make sure that, you know, we maintained the lead going into half, and that we made some of those adjustments that were going to keep us in a position to maintain possession, being, you know, knowing that they only had 10 players to mark 11 of us. So we made some great adjustments, and the players really are great at just learning. They're all really coachable right now, and it's awesome. I mean, you can just see it from half to half.
Yeah. Dialing in on some of the individual performances, if we could. A couple Big Ten players of the week to open the season. One on defense, one freshman. We'll talk through that. But I actually want to go to a returner first, if I could, because fans, you're going to get to know a few new faces on this roster. One of them won one of these Players of the Week honors. Bear with me. But let's start maybe with Carly Cormack. That's a name that fans know, right? Had some success last year, and probably nice to see some early success this year for her.
Absolutely. I mean, she had 2 goals and an assist on the weekend and, played huge minutes in both games. She's just kind of that like quiet performer in a lot of ways. She just does all the dirty work. So I love when players like Carly that are so passionate and they're such like elite competitors without knowing, just in the way that they play. I mean, she's just so fierce, and I'm so happy to see her like being rewarded with a goal or 2 goals. But she's just such a playmaker. She's just so tough. So for me, just role modeling the behavior for all the younger players and is pretty awesome. She's a special player.
It sticks out to me when you have someone, and this is true of a few of your athletes this weekend, that score a goal but also assist on a goal, right? Like, we like points in general, not just when they come from goals, right? Am I onto something there?
Absolutely. I mean, just being unselfish in front of the goal. A lot of teams, and you want players, goal scorers, to be really selfish and take those chances.
Right.
But when you've got a lot of different attacking threats, and you have that confidence in your teammate that I could score, but you have a better chance, so I'm going to play off to you, is awesome. And I think that Carly's been that playmaker since she's been here, but I'm happy to see her take some chances too.
How do you coach that? The balance of that must be so difficult.
Lots of film, and
Yeah.
just actually in front of goal, a lot of it's about identifying angles. And like, I know you had a window here, but like this other player had a much better window, and identifying in those decisions, like which is the best decision.
The peripheral view needs to be wide.
That's
am I right?
correct. Yep.
Yeah. No, I get it. We're talking soccer with head coach Tracy Joyner to one of the newcomers now, the Big Ten Freshman of the Week in Shiloh Baird. Great start to her Oregon career, huh?
Yes, I think this, according to our sports information director, that Shiloh is the first freshman in Oregon history in at least the past 28 years to score a goal in her first 2 matches. So pretty impressive. Very happy for her. Happy for us, and just she's a dude. She just knows how to score goals, and it's awesome. I'm happy for her.
Well, I hope that was accurate that Greg came up with, because I said it on the show yesterday in reference to the Big Ten weekly honor, because that really is saying something. I mean, to think about the start that you can have, because I'd imagine there's some nerves, right, Coach? Like, first time you're in a collegiate uniform, it's a little different.
It is. With her,
maybe not.
You wouldn't know.
That's good.
If there was nerves. I mean, she's just a player. She's a gamer. She obviously trains hard and does all the right things, but she also she loves games. Like, she loves competing. She's got that swag to her, and that's what you want as a striker.
You mentioned like the game experience now too. Like we talked about this a little bit after your exhibition season with the one exhibition, but now you do have a little more film to look at, don't you?
We got lots of film, and there's what's awesome to be at this point in the season is we're now, like today during our film session, we were talking about like these really small nuances of the game, not like, oh man, where do we start with what to fix? It was like, all right, we need you to move an inch farther. It wasn't, and it's awesome, especially, again, for goal scorers and the back line, however, whatever side of the ball we're on. It's small adjustments. A lot of it's just based on communication, and like some visual cues. So, we're in a good spot and moving in the right direction.
Continuing with some of the individual performances, if I could. We haven't even gotten to the defense yet. I promise that we will do that. Abella Hunter, though, I did want to ask you about her. That had to feel good to score a goal, assist on a goal this weekend. Great start to the year for Abella Hunter.
Absolutely. And she's someone, that, again, is definitely a gamer. She's always been a competitor since, I obviously she came from our last program, and I knew that about her. I knew she plays with a lot of heart. We certainly need that on the field. So happy to see her get her first, goal in Duck uniform. And, hopefully that continues to inspire her to be hungry and fight for more and more. So we're excited about, where she's at and where she's going.
Goals are great. Don't get me wrong. Goals are great. It's how you win. You also win by preventing goals. 2 clean sheets. How about the defense? Zoom out for us first. The defense, what'd you see this weekend?
It was good. I mean, solid defensive organization. That's something that's part of our identity, is being very, very good in terms of our communication, in the back line, but really organizing layers in front. And that's something we've been talking with the goalkeepers quite a bit about, is like, it's not just about your direct line in front. It's how are you managing the midfield? How are you managing our strikers? Because defending really is from the top down. And just our team organization was very good. Obviously, you want to shout out the keepers, all getting shutouts, which is great, and our back line was big time in a lot of ways. But what we appreciated the most about the way that we defended was like it wasn't perfect, and it doesn't need to be, but like there was such a like an intensity, and we were way more proactive in trying to find solutions. Something we say is like, hey, even if it's the wrong decision, if we all do wrong together, then like we're going to be okay. But that indecision is what hurts us. And they all, I would say 90% of the time was the right thing. And then the other 10% wasn't the right decision, but we all did it together. And so it worked out just fine. So I was like, more of that, that's okay. Like there's not a lot of solutions some of the time.
I was amazed that is true in so many different sports, right? Like it's amazing just what happens when you're all on the same page, even if it's the wrong thing. Y'all moved at the same time.
Teamwork makes the dream work. That's where it comes from.
That's right. One Duck accomplished this. Accomplished maybe is the wrong word. You tell me, Coach. Taylor Dever, the only Duck to play the full 90 on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. Was it by design that she's just so good she plays the full 90, Coach? I mean, you got to tell us.
Well, she's coming off of an injury, which is awesome. And it's important for her to get 90 minutes of game time just to get back into her rhythm. It's hard coming off of an injury to, have that success, but the more feel she can get for the game, the better. And, we also want a leader back there that can close out games. So, we want to maintain a shutout and just know what that feels like. I think that there was moments towards the end of the game, the last 15, 20 minutes, where we got a little bit loose defensively, and we needed to make sure we maintained a voice and kind of had a stalwart presence back there. So she did a great job in both games, and definitely, well-deserved to earn that accolade.
Pretty cool. 2 Ducks on those weekly honors from the Big Ten. And you touched on the keepers. I did want to ask you, Gray Wilson gets the start, but all 3 keepers get to see action over the weekend. You have a smile on your face when I say that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, all of them are very deserving in a lot of ways, and they've all got different strengths. And so just getting all keepers in the game and our entire roster of healthy players all got to get in, it's such a great feeling. But our keepers all did a great job. I think we have a lot of trust in all of them as well. So it's big time.
Now, that was opening weekend. 2 wins, a lot of good things to talk about. Now you hit the road against a team that's usually pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Thursday, 7:30 the start time at Santa Clara. Picked to win their conference again this year, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty good team.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, they've got obviously a lot of winning tradition in their program, history of national championships, and we're ready for it. I mean, I think it's a great test for us to see where we're at and what we're capable of. I think if we go in with the confidence that I know we have, it's okay to be nervous, but we don't want nervous fear. We want nervous excitement. And I think that that's how we're feeling right now is like, all right, let's test ourselves and, embrace the adversity and look forward to the challenge. So I again, am excited about where we're going, and it'll be a good test for sure. They're a great program.
You like opening in the state of Oregon and then hitting the road? Does it work out well in that way?
That worked out great. I know. Just like we drew it up.
Just
right?
like you drew it up.
That's what we're doing.
Just like
There's
you
a plan
drew it
to
up.
everything, right?
There's always a plan. The big question that I have for this and then the matchup against San Francisco coming up on Sunday is, do you have enough tickets for the Duck fans that'll be there?
I don't. I do not.
There you go. This is great.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. My mother-in-law just texted me and was like, can I get 7 tickets? I'm like, okay, we're almost at 30 now, so I'm like, I might just have to buy tickets and then give them away, but we'll see. Yeah.
Good problem to have.
Great problem to have.
Good
There'll be a lot of green, probably a lot of Cal stuff, but rooting for the Ducks, which
that's cool.
We'll still take it.
That's
all
cool.
good.
Look, we get the connections, right?
Yeah.
We understand.
Anyone that's playing against Santa Clara, Cal's going to root for anyway, so we're in a great spot. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Bay Area trip ahead, 7:30. It's on ESPN Plus. You can tune in. Oregon at Santa Clara, looking for a 3rd win of the season. Great start to the season. Coach, anything else we should highlight? What did we miss today?
Oh, go Ducks. Appreciate the fans so much. That changed everything. We tripled the attendance from last year.
Way to go, fans.
Yeah.
Well
and,
done.
It was just huge. I mean, it changed the entire environment. It was so exciting. I got goosebumps when we scored that first goal, and not just because it was a nice goal, but because the eruption from the fans it was visceral. It was palpable feeling of joy and excitement. So thank you so much, and please keep coming out.
It's awesome. It's great stuff. Tracy Joyner, safe travels hope that you get to see a lot of great Duck fans down there.
I will. Thank you.
Timeout. When we come back, Dante Moore, Mateo Uiagalelei all meeting with the media. Football practice continues. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills, we're more than just a country club. We're where family, fun, and connection come together. Enjoy our award-winning course, vibrant year-round events, and the warm camaraderie of fellow members. Our all-inclusive event spaces offer both indoor and outdoor settings, perfect for weddings, business events, holiday parties, and more. Whether you're in search of championship golf, lively social gatherings, or simply a welcoming community to call home, Shadow Hills is the place where you belong.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It's really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas.
Congratulations on getting your diploma.
You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna take my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. So good to see you real.
Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack right here in the Country Financial Studio. My thanks to Dusty. My thanks to Coach Joyner. Now, how about Dante Moore, Oregon quarterback? He met with the media after practice last night, getting us ready for scrimmage number 2. Where's he at in fall camp? The quarterback, Dante Moore.
Dante, you were kind of rehashing your summer at Media Day a couple weeks ago and what a whirlwind it was. And I'm just curious, after these 2 weeks of camp, when you've just been focusing on football, what that has been like for you.
Yeah, it's been great. Just being able to, of course, play the game I love. Just being able to, of course, travel the world, it felt like during the summer. It was great to create some great memories with my teammates, family, myself. But yeah, just being back, working with the team, fall camp, it's hard days, but we got to embrace it and enjoy it.
Dan talked about, a greater willingness from you in this camp to change plays and to, have audibles and everything. I'm wondering where that comes from in terms of, your off-season preparation and then, how much more confident, I guess, you feel coming into this fall camp.
Yeah, I would say preparation is, of course, the biggest thing, especially as a quarterback or even just an athlete in general. It's just also trust what Coach Manager has within me and, of course, what I have within him, just being able to go out there on the field and see defensive looks that we've watched in film, even from other teams or even what our team does. And when we go out there on the field and just trusting what we've been taught and coached and being able to go out there and if the play works, we're happy. And if the play doesn't work, we just go back to the film room and say, hey, how can we change it to be better? But yeah, that's just a game of football. The defense has been pushing us really well. They've been making great plays and we've been making great plays as well.
At Media Day, Dan said that he asked all you guys to look back 365 days to where you were then to where you are now. So I'm curious, coming after at a Saturday scrimmage, where do you think you are in this offense is compared to where you guys were a year ago?
Yeah, me personally, when he asked me that question, I just thought about just my process of how much I've been so much, dialed into details. Of course, last year I was learning a lot. Of course, that was my first time, taking over the team and being able to play. But just being able to be, this year, just, have the knowledge I have now. And, of course, this offseason, being able to push with Coach Love and just really appreciate my process between my body, my mind, if it's yoga, if it's all these things to help me to make sure I stay productive throughout my days. And then the team, I mean, the scrimmage was great. Defense made great plays. We made great plays. But I kind of feel like within myself, I've gotten better, of course, just protecting the football, making smart reads, and just be able to use my legs more. Put on some weight, put on some speed, and just being able to embrace my game and, help the offense get into great calls as well.
I talked with Coach Koa yesterday about Marcus Mariota, and he said sometimes you guys will study his film. When you watch his film, what really stands out to you, and what do you try to incorporate?
Yeah, Marcus is a special talent. He's been playing the game for a long time. And being able to watch, we watch his college film, we watch his NFL film. It's just the way he plays the game with his speed. If it's just mentally going through progressions or even using his legs to make plays. And, of course, he's, loved here and for who he is as a person, but, also as a player. And I think the biggest thing with him is just how he is in this world outside of football, just the way he carries himself, the way he loves his family, the way he is as a father. And I kind of feel like me as a man in life, I just get to learn from him. And we're on the range together, just watching him, hug his daughter and his son and everybody. It just makes me like, he's doing great things in life. I want to follow his footsteps.
What's your process for blocking out all the noise, blocking out all the preseason expectations and the polls and the watch lists and all that stuff? How do you process that and just brush it off to the side?
Yeah, not being on social media. I think that's the biggest thing I've been doing. Of course, if it comes to deals and things, I just have my team handle all that. But just something that Coach Lanning brought up to me. It's something I learned from Bo Nix, being able to see him and Coach Lanning talking that he didn't go through, he wasn't on social media through fall camp. And in our generation, we're addicted to it. We love tablets, we love iPads and everything, and I fall victim to it as well. I love being on Instagram late at night, but sleep's important. I have a lot of priorities I'm trying to maximize and go attack. So just being off social media and really giving the 100% effort and attention to my teammates.
Athletes are always trained to develop routines and all of the importance of routine. How do you break a routine though during the middle of fall camp when it feels like it's the same thing over and over every day and stay rejuvenized for every day of practice?
Yeah, fall camp, of course, morning start at 5 a.m., probably done at 10 p.m. So those are long days, but you just got to embrace it. I love doing it. I love, of course, having the same routine. You just can never get bored of it. Coach Love has done a great job with creating me a schedule. The trainers, my coaches, yoga instructor, everybody has, poured into, a schedule for me and my teammates, and we've all, adapted to them and appreciated them. So, of course, when you're doing something, you look for the results, and it's been great results. Sometimes I fail when I'm doing something, but it just makes me work even harder. So the process has been working, and I'm still attacking every day.
At Sante Moore, we're pressing pause with the Duck quarterback. More of his conversation with all of us last night when we return on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working in our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle or forget extra diapers. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never, ever become a minivan mom. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
We just kind of knew from the beginning that we were family.
They showcased a sense of love that I never had before. I mean, he's not only my parent, he's like my best friend.
At the end of the day, it's all been worth it. I wouldn't change a thing about our lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Fall camp continues, and Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union, continues. Joey Mack here in the Country Financial Studio, finishing up our conversation from last night with Oregon quarterback Dante Moore as he and the Ducks get ready for their second scrimmage coming up on Saturday. Dante Moore.
Quarterback showed in the scrimmage. I'm curious on your impressions, not just of yourself, but the other quarterbacks in the scrimmage, but then also just through fall camp to this point.
Yeah, the quarterbacks have been doing a great job. I mean, just myself and the other quarterbacks, just the way we communicate in the film room, the joy we bring to the room, the joy we bring to the field, the energy. Akili has been doing a great job. I mean, when he first came into now, the way he can go through progressions, the way he can escape, use his legs. He's 6'6", 245, so, I mean, he looks like Cam Newton out there running around. But overall, he just makes great plays. And, I mean, overall, it even goes down to Ryder Hayes, the way he has so much attention to detail, the way he pushes us in indie groups and pushes the herd, and everybody's pouring into this team. And as a quarterback, you know, you're always looked at as the leader, but every other position is pushing us as well to be leaders too.
The defense as a whole has made it a goal to get to the quarterback more this year. I know you're wearing the non-contact jersey, but have you kind of sensed that from them, that maybe there's a little bit more hunger to get after the quarterback through this fall camp than maybe fall camps past?
Yeah, Coach Hamp, of course, you know, has been pushing that defense with different disguises. Yeah, the D-line here is special. They have really, you know, a lot of great talent, but the O-line here is special as well. So it's always iron sharpening iron and out there. They've been pushing each other. And, of course, as a quarterback, I love wearing a red jersey at practice so I don't get hit. But, I mean, overall, it's just when we're out there, the way I just see, defensive linemen make moves, and they're right in front of my face and I have to scramble. But at the end of the day, you know, they win reps, we win reps, and we just got to push each other and make sure that we just maximize, you know, every play.
Whenever players come back, like in your instance, there's this kind of outside expectation of like, oh, they were this good this year, they're obviously going to take a big leap the next year, and that kind of yada yada is over like the work that you have to put in and the time in between. But I'm curious, like going in here in your fourth fall camp, what is it kind of like dealing with that kind of pressure and expectation, and do you handle mistakes any differently than you did maybe 3 years ago?
Yeah, that last piece you said, I enjoy and embrace every mistake I make because it makes me learn from it. And there's times where if I wasn't making mistakes today I made mistakes. Yesterday I made mistakes. If I wasn't making mistakes, I'll be worried. So it's just making sure that when I do make a mistake, how I can maximize it, talk to the coaches, even talk with them myself. Self-talk is something that's huge, and being able to learn from it. But, yeah, I mean, pressure's a privilege.
Pressure's a privilege. How about embracing and loving every mistake? Oh, God, I wish I felt that way sometimes. Dante Moore, Duck quarterback, meeting with the media. Practice continues. We've got more Duck Insider the rest of the week. A lot of interviews with these players. Been great stuff. See you tomorrow.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom? She started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's